Hey, welcome back to XRP Financial Horizon. I want to jump straight into something that happened this past Sunday in the XRP market because if you blinked, you might have missed one of the more telling price moves we've seen in weeks. XRP cracked below a support level that traders have been defending for most of June, dropped to a zone that had a lot of people nervous, and then, almost out of nowhere, reversed hard. Not a slow grind back up, a real, fast reversal. And honestly, the recovery tells us more about where this market stands right now than the drop ever could. So let's get into it. Here's what actually happened. XRP was sitting around $1.1451 to start the session. Nothing too alarming, price was moving in its usual range. Then around 2100 UTC on Sunday, volume exploded. 85.8 million XRP changed hands in what was the heaviest trading of the entire session. That kind of volume doesn't show up randomly. It usually means something is happening. Either a large number of sellers decided this was their moment to exit, or someone was aggressively testing the market to see how much support was actually underneath. The result was a slide down to around $1.1213, breaking below the $1.14 level that most traders had circled as the line in the sand. For a few hours, it looked like the bottom might fall out, but it didn't. Buyers came in, absorbed the selling, and drove XRP back up toward $1.148. The recovery was sharp enough that by the time consolidation set in, XRP had clawed back nearly 80% of the entire breakdown. That's not a partial bounce, that's a statement. It says there are participants in this market who are watching these exact price levels and are willing to put real money to work when price dips there. Whether you call that smart money accumulation or just opportunistic buying, the message from the tape was clear. $1.12 to $1.13 found buyers, and those buyers meant business. Now here's what the technicals are actually telling us, stripped of all the noise. The break below 1.1385 happened on the biggest volume candle of the session. Normally, when a support level breaks on heavy volume, that's a bearish sign. It suggests strong conviction behind the move lower. But the fact that the recovery was equally fast and nearly complete flips that narrative. What we actually saw was a shakeout. A sharp move below support designed to flush out weak hands and trigger stop losses, followed by a quick reclaim. Traders who have been around long enough know that false breakdowns on high volume, followed by fast recoveries, are one of the more reliable setups you'll see in any market. It's not a guarantee of anything, but it's not nothing either. What's keeping XRP in a holding pattern right now is a fairly clear structure that's been in place for most of June. The token has been trading between roughly $1.10 on the low end and $1.30 on the high end, a range wide enough to make short-term traders nervous, but tight enough to suggest the market hasn't committed to a direction yet. Inside that range, the $1.13 to $1.15 zone has become the most active area, the spot where buyers and sellers keep showing up to settle the score. Sunday's session was just the latest round in that ongoing fight, and based on how it ended, the buyers won that round on points. The resistance side of the picture is equally clear. When XRP bounced off that session low and started climbing back, it ran into a wall right around $1.147 to $1.149. That's the area where the recovery stalled out and price went sideways. Until XRP can push through $1.15 with some real follow-through, meaning multiple closes above that level with decent volume, that zone is going to act as a ceiling. Every time price approaches that area, there are going to be sellers waiting, including people who bought the dip and are happy to take a profit right there. That's just market reality, and it's worth keeping in mind as you watch price action over the next few sessions. Here's the debate that's actually happening among analysts right now, and it's a legitimate one. You have two camps looking at the exact same chart and coming to very different conclusions. The first group sees this range-bound action as accumulation, patient buying at low prices before a move higher. They point to the repeated defense of support, the fast recoveries after dips, and the general resilience of XRP in the $1.10 to $1.15 zone as signs that something constructive is being built here. In their view, the longer this range holds, the more powerful the eventual breakout could be. The second group looks at the same setup and sees distribution, where sellers are quietly offloading positions into every bounce, using the range to exit rather than enter. Their concern is that every test of support chips away at the buying power underneath, and at some point the floor simply isn't strong enough to hold. They point to the fact that XRP has been stuck in this range for most of June without any meaningful push toward the upper boundary, as evidence that the buying pressure isn't actually that strong. Both views are reasonable, both are supported by the same price data, and the market hasn't handed us a verdict yet. What would actually resolve this debate is a sustained move outside the 1.10 to 1.30 range with conviction, meaning price doesn't just poke above 1.30 or below 1.1030 or below 1.10 and snap back, but actually holds outside that range for multiple sessions with supporting volume. That kind of move would be the first real directional signal XRP traders have had in weeks. Until that happens, the honest take is that we're in a wait-and-see zone, where the range remains intact and neither side has proven dominance. Frustrating for traders who want clarity, but that's the honest read of what the chart is showing. Looking at the broader context, XRP doesn't trade in isolation. Whatever happens with Bitcoin over the coming days and weeks will have a direct influence on whether XRP tests the top or bottom of its current range first. Macro sentiment matters too. Risk appetite across financial markets, regulatory headlines, and any news specific to Ripple or the XRP ecosystem could all serve as catalysts that push this market out of its current indecision. Right now, XRP is essentially coiled, and the spring could release in either direction. That's not a hedge, it's just an accurate description of a market that hasn't shown its hand yet. The key levels to keep on your radar going forward are simple. On the downside, watch 1.13 closely. That's the floor that got tested on Sunday and held. A clean, convincing break below that level with no quick recovery would be a change in character and worth taking seriously. On the upside, 1.147 to $1.15 is the immediate hurdle that needs to be cleared before the upper part of the range comes back into play. If XRP can close above $1.15 on solid volume and start putting in higher lows on the hourly or 4-hour chart, the case for a push toward $1.20 and above gets genuinely interesting. What Sunday ultimately showed was that XRP's support zone still has teeth. When price dropped to levels that made a lot of people uncomfortable, real buyers stepped in and didn't wait around. That's not meaningless. Markets where support gets defended fast and decisively tend to be markets where participants have a reason to care about those price levels. Whether that reason is long-term accumulation, short-term speculation, or something else entirely, we can debate. But the fact that buyers showed up with size and speed is information worth respecting. Going into the rest of this week and beyond, the story for XRP is the same story it's been telling for most of June, just with a little more urgency attached to it after Sunday's volatility. The range is intact, the support held, the resistance is clear, and the next meaningful move, the one that actually gives traders a real signal, is going to come from a clean break outside of these boundaries. Until that happens, play the levels, manage your risk, and don't let short-term noise pull you into decisions that don't line up with the bigger picture. That's the full breakdown right here on XRP Financial Horizon. If this helped you make sense of what went down over the weekend and what to watch next, drop a like on this video and let us know your take in the comments. Are you watching for a breakout or bracing for a breakdown? Subscribe if you haven't already because we keep things straight and clear right here. No fluff, no hype, just real market analysis. Catch you in the next one.